Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Washington Unitarian Universalist Voices for Justice First Climate Action event. Passing the Carbon Pollution Accountability Act is our #1 budget priority this year. Joining us today are some amazing leaders in the climate action community. But first we have a question, and I will let Gary Paisan of the Performing Artists of the UU Congregation of Whidbey Island and students representing Plant for the Planet pose it to you.
Hello, studenti, which means, in English, hello, students. We are here today to talk a little bit about a minor problem we're having with our planet. Anybody from planet Earth here? Okay, I see most of you are. Well, we're going to talk about something molto importante, and the first lesson of today, show the lesson, flip it over. There we go, is what's the worst that could happen? Now you may think I talk a little funny, but that's because, you know, I'm Italian. I am a professor from the University of Bologna. That's in Italy, you know. So I don't talk like this because I've been playing hockey without a helmet. It's the way Italians talk when they speak American. So today we're going to explain something very elegant that a friend of mine, who I don't know at all, Greg Craven from the Institute of Oregon High Schools, developed a few years ago to explain a little bit about the risks we're taking. It's called risk analysis, and people who study business know this very well. So we do two things. We ask the question, you know, is climate change real? Well, maybe it is, like the denialists think, or maybe it isn't like the denialists think, or maybe it is like 97% of scientists think. Well, if it isn't, we're going to call it false. That's American for it isn't. And if it is, we're going to call it true and put it in that column. Now we got two choices. We can do something or we can do nothing. All right? We can take action or we can do nothing. That's called inaction in American. So now we're going to look at the worst case possibilities that could arise from this combination. If we don't believe it's real, or excuse me, if it's truly not happening, if the ice cap is not melting, but we want to be on the safe side and we take action, well, it's going to be kind of costly. You know, we got to invest a lot of money in green technologies and solar panels and windmills and innovative ways of getting around, like high-speed rail. And we're probably going to need regulations to encourage people to, you know, conserve energy. And we might have to raise taxes, God forbid, to pay for all this, okay? And basically it boils down to building a better world for nothing, okay? If it's false and we don't do anything, like some people suggest, that's a problem. This is American for doing nothing, business as usual. We don't spend any money, we go out, we fly wherever we want, we drive Hummers and SUVs, and everything's good. But let's say 97% of the scientists are right, and along with that, there's a 97% probability, remember? So it's true, and we're being a little bit cautious, we actually take action. Well, we're going to have all of the above happen, probably, but a big pat on the back for us we avert catastrophe. And we live to, have a little bit more fun in the world. But if it's true and we don't take any action, we got floods, famine, superstorms, we've got extinction. We got to eat something. So we have increasing drought, we got social instability, we're going to maybe have wars as civilizations become unstable and maybe collapse and health problems ensue. I'm going to ask you, does this sound like something we want? Are there any questions? Excuse me, momento. Hello, kids. Big and little alike. Well, the professor, he got called away because he had to do some resuscitation on some pteropods that were getting a little acidified in the ocean. And when that happens, their shells get soft, and the salmon, they don't like eating mushy pteropods. So the professor explained to you that we're facing some significant risks to our future due to this thing called, the carbon dioxide crisis. We've got too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and it's affecting our weather, and it's affecting the ocean chemistry. So what are we going to do? We tried changing the light bulbs. That didn't work out so well. Do we know of any system that takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere? Exactly. We have the technology available to us right here. Trees, as we know, eat carbon dioxide. And the bigger they are, the more they ingest. But we don't have enough trees. In fact, the scientists have figured out that we need just about 1 trillion trees to get the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. That's, it's kind of a lot of trees. That's 150 trees for every man, woman, and child on the planet. And in spite of that, we've put so much CO2 in the atmosphere, that's not going to be adequate to return it to a stable conditions. So we need to do something that reduces the carbon dioxide we're putting into the atmospheres. Trees will take it out, but we got to stop putting it in. So let's take a look at what, some people think might be a good idea. Anybody know what that says? It's a very straightforward, elegant solution. We tax the people that are mining coal, petroleum, which some people call oil, and natural gas. And we use that money that we collect to, like California and Ireland did, reduce their deficits, slash their deficits. And or we could move that money and subsidize, the technologies we need for a healthy future, including wind and solar power and all that stuff I talked about before, including maybe buying rainforest in the southern hemisphere. And we're going to have to invest money, sad to say, because things have proceeded so far along, into adaptation strategies. Sea levels will rise, and we're going to have to raise the infrastructure away from, our low-lying communities. And or the third option is to give the money back to you people, the consumers. It's a market-based strategy that's supported by reasonable people on both sides of the aisle. So so that the people getting this money, they can decide how they want to spend it. You know, they might think they want a Hummer, but then they look at the price of gas and they think, well, I don't want to spend $10,000 a year on gas. Maybe I'll get an electric car and not spend any money on gas. You see how it works? Okay, pretty simple. So, what do we need?
A carbon tax.
I couldn't hear that. Well, I could hear you that time, but I don't think our legislature is hearing you. Could you say it again a little louder? That should work. Okay. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Well, that sums it up for UU Voices for Justice on Carbon Accountability. What's so hard to understand? Thank you, Captain Climate Action and Plant for the Planet.